Hey, this is Christian Kane. You're listening to Dispatch Radio.
We have a great actor on with us. We're going to talk about some great films, some coming up. One is out. You can see I Saw the Light with Tom Hiddleston. Also, The Free State of Jones with Matthew McConaughey. It's coming to theaters very soon, directed by Gary Ross. Great historical film. Looks fantastic. We have Will Beinbrink on with us. Will's going to talk about his roles. How you doing, Will?
I'm doing awesome. How are you doing, Brandon?
Oh, I'm doing great. You know, the Hank Williams biopic is just an extraordinary film, and obviously Hiddleston kind of took center stage doing sort of this incredible impersonation of Hank Williams in a way.
Yeah.
Talk about playing Jim Denny, and talk about the film a little bit and what your experience was like.
Sure. Well, Jim Denny, unbeknownst to me before I got the audition, was Jim Denny was actually a historical figure. So, you know, when I got the audition, I looked him up, and I kind of read about him, and I heard he was a real kind of like a short, stout, stocky kind of guy that kind of referred to him as kind of a bull. Like, he just was very bullish in the way that he pushed people forward. And I was like, well, that is not me. I'm tall, thin, I'm 6'2", 190, you know, and I just felt like, okay, well, screw it. Let's do the audition, lay it down, and, you know, we'll never hear back, and that's just the way it goes. And then, like 3 weeks later, I heard that I got the job, and I was just kind of shocked. And then I was like, really? Is this a joke? And then I had to go down there, like, pretty soon afterwards. Didn't have that much time to prepare, really. And I was kind of like, well, I don't know really how to prepare, because this is one of the first times, at least in a film, that I've played an historical character. And we don't look that similar in terms of our face or in terms of our body. So I started to see about doing research about, you know, maybe seeing if I can incorporate aspects of him, but it just didn't make sense. So I just kind of was like, screw it. I'm gonna do what I did and develop that further. You know, so that's what I did, and it was a phenomenal experience from top to bottom. Like, Mark Abraham is such a sweet, hardworking, beautiful man. I mean, he's produced so many films. He produced Children of Men. He produced, like, Air Force One. I mean, the guy's like a major producer here in Hollywood, but he's always wanted to direct. And he directed this great film called Flash of Genius, and he just had such unfortunate timing. It came out the day after 9/11. It had, like, Greg Kinnear in it, and so, you know, this was his second crack at doing a film kind of that he wanted to do. It had been, I guess, you know, whatever, 12 years or 14 years. And he made this, you know, he put all his heart and soul into this film, and I think in a lot of ways it shows. I think it also shows in some of the things that aren't, like, how do I say this? He tried to tell so much story in so little time that even the little scenes that seem not really important actually have so much little dialogue in it that you learn about the history of either his history as a child or his history with his mom or his father. And it's just so quick. It's like 2 lines, and he basically talks about his childhood with his dad or his mom. And, you know, he tried to cram everything possibly could into that movie. And in some ways, that's great, and in some ways, I think that created some challenges for him in terms of the storytelling of the movie as well. But I had a phenomenal time. He's, like I said, he's great, and I would consider him the best director I've ever worked with. So nice, so process-oriented, so not like, hey, all right, that was great, do it again.
Talk a little bit about Hiddleston. Hiddleston didn't waste any time welcoming you to the set.
No, I know, that was such a great story. Yeah, I was in the trailer. They were cutting my hair and, like, trimming my sideburns, like, super 50, you know, 40 short. And then I was on the far side of the trailer, and then out of the other far side, I hear this dude scream, "Jim Denny!" And I was, like, kind of shocked, and I was like, what the hell is that? and I turn around, it's Tom Hiddleston with his arms like open with a big smile on his face. And I just that was my welcome to set. And to have your number one be so nice and so genuine and just so supportive off the bat really, really was special. And then we hit it off. We talked there, and then we ended up talking later in the day. And I actually went over to his place at night and the next night, and we worked on the scenes. And because we had one scene coming up the next, literally in 2 days. And then he gave me the Colin S. Scott book, the Hank Williams biography. He gave me some extra CDs that he had to listen to. So, I just felt like he was such a generous, supportive actor, which are the types of actors who, one, I love, and who, two, I feel like really make the world or craft of an actor a special thing, and that I think is the type of actors that I wish people were more aware of and had more knowledge of the things that they do in order to excel at their craft versus the people who you hear about in the Inquirer and all that stuff that just it feels like it brings it down to, it makes acting seem like it's not an art and it's not something that anyone can just walk off the street and just do it.
Will Beinbrink's previewing his film I Saw the Light. It's the Hank Williams biopic, and also he's got an upcoming film called The Free State of Jones, stars opposite Matthew McConaughey. And we'll give everybody a little heads up. There's another historical piece, a drama that probably appealed to you in your love of that kind of role.
Oh, it's awesome. It's literally, I feel so lucky being in the films and the TV shows that I've been in, but this one in particular, it's with Matthew McConaughey, plays this guy Newton Knight, who is in the town that I live in. I'm a fellow farmer. We're all farmers in the small town, in the small area called Jones County, and it's the Civil War. In the South, I don't know if most people don't know this, but the South, the way that they didn't have the money of the North, so what they did was they would levy heavy taxes on all the locals, especially the poor people. They were just raping the poor people of supplies. So if you had over 20 slaves, you didn't have to really give them anything. But if you had under some other amount of slaves, they basically would levy you, and they'd take whatever they could from you: sacks of grain, pigs, livestock, anything as a farmer they'd take. And as the war started dragging on, they kept taking higher and higher percentages of what our yield was. So what happened was Newt finally got really fed up with it and enrolled all of us to secede from the South and become our own state, so that we could basically survive and take care of ourselves and our family, because we couldn't survive anymore with the restrictions that they were putting on us and the taxes and tariffs that they were imposing. So it's a really cool film, and it's an amazing piece of American history that people just don't know. So, going from I Saw the Light, which is talking about another American icon, to this other guy who's kind of, you could call him an American icon, but he's just, no one knows about him. I feel tremendously grateful.
It's absolutely great to unearth just a great piece of our history and fighting back against the oppression and the oppressive use of government force. And director Gary Ross just, really delivers an incredible film. I can't wait to get involved with that once the footage and the trailers start to really go full force here. And what was Ross like on set? How is he compared to some of the other directors that you've worked with?
Ross is great. He's like an LA guy. He's really nice. He's very personable. He comes up to you, he greets you. He's like, "Hey man, how you doing? Sorry, so in this scene we're gonna do this and this. And, you're gonna be great. Go have fun." He's just very nice and very fun and very upbeat, and he always keeps things moving forward. And I think that's important on projects with such an amount of extras and people. Like the scene that I'm in, it was three of us talking, Matthew, myself, and this other actor, Jim Clark. It was just us three who had lines. And then there was another, 150 extras. And, donkeys and whatever. So, there was a lot of things going on. So I feel like he was really great at just keeping things positive, moving forward, giving Matthew space and letting Matthew do what Matthew needs to do. Because sometimes I feel like directors want to direct in a way, and I think often, sometimes the best directing is when you just let the actors figure it out for themselves and let them work and stay out of their process. And he was really good about that. Really good about that with Matthew. Really good about that with me and Jim. And it was enjoyable. I really had a great time.
Will Beinbrink.
And I met a lot of. And I was gonna say I met a lot of good actors who have good roles in that film. From Christopher Barry to this guy Sean Bridgers. They have major lead supportings in that movie. So I'm excited to see their work as well.
Will Beinbrink's previewing I Saw the Light and The Free State of Jones, two great films that you got to catch, especially if you love history, you love documentary style filmmaking and sort of that new Hollywood setting, kind of a Spielberg-Lincoln sort of way. It's great stuff.
Right.
Look forward to it. And we're going to come back with Will. He's going to talk a little bit more about some of his other films, Carter in June, Manhattan Night, where he actually kind of delves into more of a producer role. We'll talk to him about that.
Woohoo!